a Lego Star Wars collection worth $200,000. A family who said their entire investment has just disappeared. A former Bricks Minifigs franchise owner says her store was taken from her. And big YouTubers allegedly getting arrested while trying to investigate this. Now one of the biggest used Lego store chains in America is facing huge backlash from the Lego community. Now this story does sound made up, but it's very real and we're going to talk about it. But before I get into it, I need to be very clear. There is an ongoing legal dispute. There are lawsuits, police involvement, and a lot of claims flying around online. So I'm only going to be sticking to what's been reported, what the people involved have said publicly, and what Bricks and Minifigs have said in their own statement. So when I say the word stolen, whether that's in the title or in this video, understand that the legal questioning over whether it was stolen or not is still being investigated. But either way, this is one of the craziest Lego stories I've ever seen. So for anyone that doesn't know, Bricks and Minifigs is a chain of stores in America. They buy, sell and trade Lego. So if you've got old sets, minifigures, bulks of Lego, retired sets, anything like that, they will take it off you. And it's very popular, so this makes the story even more shocking, because this isn't some random Facebook Marketplace dodgy deal, even though Facebook Marketplace can be very good. This involves a recognized Lego resale franchise. According to the reportings, the whole Lego Star Wars collection was owned by Brian Mansell. Him and his father had spent years collecting. They built up a huge Lego Star Wars collection that was set to be worth $200,000. It's been reported that it has over 780 sets and around 1,200 minifigures. This was sealed boxes and valuable minifigures. Some of these sets were reported to be worth thousands. And according to reports, the Cloud City Lego set was in there, which is worth around $10,000. Now the key part of this story is the consignment agreement. According to reporting, in late 2023, Brian Mansell entered into a consignment agreement with Bricks and Minifigs, and the store was located in Oregon. The basic idea was simple. The store would display and sell all the Lego sets, the Mansell family would still own all the Lego sets until they were sold, and then the store would take a percentage of all the sale. And of course, the Mansell family would receive the rest. Reports claim that the store were taking a 35% cut, which left 65% to the Mansell family, and if the sets weren't sold, they would be returned to the Mansell family. And that all sounds like a pretty normal consignment agreement. You bring valuable items into a shop, the shop will then sell them for you, they take a commission, and you get paid. But this is where everything allegedly starts going wrong. Like I said, the Mansell family still owned the sets until they were sold. It was also stated that the store had to maintain insurance while the collection was in their hand, and the sets being returned to them needed to be returned within 10 days of the agreement ending. So what happened to the unsold Lego sets once the store changed hands? Now this is pretty much where the drama starts, because the original owner of the store that took on that consignment then wanted to leave and sell up. According to the former franchise owners Crystal Law Gorman and Benjamin Gorman, they were removed from the store during the transition, and this was because Bricks and Minifigs corporate said so. The Gormans claim that they told corporate that the sets were still owned by Mansell's family and needed to be returned if they weren't sold. And if you've seen any of the YouTube videos online, that is correct. There is footage of them doing that in the store with the new owners, all whilst being on the phone to corporate. But of course, Bricks and Minifigs corporate dispute that. In their own statement, Bricks and Minifigs said corporate was not party to any alleged consignment agreement. They didn't sign it, they didn't approve it, they didn't authorize it. They also said these consignment deals are prohibited under their franchise agreement. And this turns out to be one of the biggest disputes in the whole story. On one side, we have Mansell and the former store owners saying that this consignment agreement was in place. It's a real agreement and it's documented. And on the other hand, we have Bricks and Minifigures saying this is an unauthorized consignment and it was privately arranged between the former owners and the Mansell family, and that corporate should not be held responsible. But it now gets even messier, because the records that have been reviewed contain a signed consignment agreement. They also have an inventory spreadsheet, emails, a termination letter, and time-stamped photos and video evidence of the collection. And that's before and after the store changed hands. But that doesn't prove who's legally responsible for this. But it does show a serious paper trail. After the ownership change, Brian Mansell tried to get answers, and according to reports, he later terminated that agreement in 2024. He reported missed payments and not being allowed to see the remaining inventory. And this is where the story becomes a collector's nightmare, because the family did not get their collection back. And according to reports, Mansell said he doesn't expect to get the recovery of the goods back. Instead, he's seeking accountability and financial compensation, which, let's be honest, if this is true, that's absolutely reasonable. But I'm sure you would have seen this has gone absolutely mental mental in the LEGO community. People are boycotting BAM, which is Bricks and Minifigs. But to be fair, we need to cover the company side properly as well. Bricks and Minifigures posted a public statement about everything that's going on. In the statement, they deny stealing the LEGO collection. And again, they say that corporate was not involved in any consignment agreement. They say they didn't authorize it, they didn't approve it, and that franchise stores are independently operated. They also say once the store had changed owners, what was documented was no longer in the store. They also claim what they could identify as that person's stuff was offered back to them, but they refused. So their position is this really: we didn't steal your collection, we weren't part of this agreement, the local franchise made an unauthorized agreement, the full collection wasn't there when the inventory was assessed, and people should stop harassing unrelated stores and staff. And they strongly criticised edited social media clips, manufactured confrontations, threats, doxing and harassment of local staff. And that part is important, because regardless of what we think may or may not have happened, harassing employees at other Bricks and Minifig stores is not okay. Most of them had nothing to do with this. So if people are angry, that's fair enough, but it needs to be done in the right way and not aimed at random staff members in stores halfway across the country. But I can understand why a lot of people online aren't happy with their statement. They're basically taking no responsibility and are just palming it off like it didn't happen. The question remains, who's at fault here? Was it the old franchise owners? Was it the incoming management? Was it corporate? And that is what people want answered. Because if the arrangement was unauthorized, why was the collection publicly promoted? And like the contract says, everything needed to be returned to the Mansell family. Why was it never returned? And if the full inventory wasn't there when they assessed it, where did it go? Now this story blew up massively because of a YouTuber called Reckless Ben. He started covering the story with a series of investigation style videos. His videos focused on the Mansell family claims, the Bricks and Minifigs dispute, and attempts to pressure people involved to get this resolved. He staged rival businesses, lotteries, visits to corporate, and even what he described as a LEGO cult to bring more attention to the situation. And whether you love it or hate it, it's worked, because the story has now reached a much wider audience than just the LEGO community. Dexterto reported on Reckless Ben's videos, and the Express Tribune also reported on it. We've now just gone from LEGO drama to a full internet drama. We have missing LEGO, a family seeking compensation, former franchise owners saying that they were removed, corporate denying responsibility, police involvement, viral YouTube videos, alleged arrests, and the LEGO community demanding answers. Now the former franchise owner Crystal has spoken out publicly. She's claimed on TikTok that her business was illegally seized by corporate, and she has alleged she was removed with the threat of police action if she didn't leave the building. And she claimed that her and her husband have spent over a year trying to settle this and get compensation for the Mansell family. She said that she put her entire life savings into that store and built a very good community. Again, these are her claims, and they are part of an ongoing dispute. But they do add another layer to the story, because it's now not just Mansell versus Bricks and Minifigures, it's now Mansell and the former owners versus Bricks and Minifigures. So there are multiple disputes all happening at once. But this story is scary because it exposes a lot that collectors don't know about. Because when your collection is extremely valuable, it can stop becoming a hobby. It then becomes an asset. And if you hand that asset for someone else to sell, you need paperwork, insurance, inventory, don't forget photos, timestamps, contracts, and ideally legal advice. Because we know some of the sets are worth thousands, and an entire collection can be worth six figures. Now I think we can see why the whole LEGO community is angry about this. This wasn't someone just flipping one set. This was a father and son's huge LEGO Star Wars collection. And whether the legality of it sits with the old owners, the new owners, corporate, or the combination of a few, the end result is that a family have lost years of collecting and money. And the reason everyone's angry is because collectors understand. We understand what it means to build a collection like that. You don't just walk into a shop and replace a rare collection of Star Wars LEGO from the early 2000s. Most of these items will never appear again or even in the same condition. And if they do, the prices will be astronomical. That's why just give them the money back isn't the simple answer. For collectors, the item itself matters whether you are selling it or not. The history of it matters, the condition matters, and the story matters. But my take is this: the legal side of it still needs to play out. But from a community perspective, this is a complete disaster, because trust in the LEGO reselling world is everything. Whether you're buying a retired set, trading minifigures, selling a collection, you need to believe the person you're giving this to is going to do it responsibly. And when a story like this goes viral, it damages the trust within the community. Even if corporate do prove to be right, which in my opinion I'm not too sure based on all the evidence I've seen, the public perception is massive expensive, and as we've seen, stores are already getting some confrontation because of this issue. No one's asking whether this was authorized or not. People are asking, how did a family's massive Lego collection end up in the middle of this? And why hasn't it been resolved yet? So that is currently the $200,000 Lego Star Wars Bricks and Minifigs scandal. Now, I've probably missed out a huge amount of details, but I just wanted to give you a good overlook of everything that's been going on. I'll keep up to date and keep following this as the story develops. So any major updates, I will keep you guys in the loop. Please let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Keep it respectful and don't bring any legal issues into it. As always, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, drop a like on the video, drop a hype on the video, and I'll see you guys next time.